Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's North London Derby weekend. And I have invited on one of my favourite content creators who's also very realistic and will give us some truths about our club and his, Dan Potts from Football's 12th Man, everybody's favourite channel. How you doing, bro? You all right?
Thanks for the intro, man. Thanks for having me on. I haven't been on for a while, to be fair, and this is the time where we normally do have a little bit of a laugh, mate, to be honest, me and you, with North London Derby, and we look at everybody else ranting and raving at each other. And the build-up's already started, bro. But this has been weeks by Tottenham fans start to get arrogant and cocky. They only do this twice to me. And then, they're two favourite fixtures, mate, Tottenham Hotspur fans. Away and home to Arsenal. I can't lie because I do look at when they are on the fixture list when it comes out in the start of the season. But this one's going to be a very, very interesting North London derby, mate. But thanks for having me on, man. And I hope you're well, man.
Always, man. Yeah, always. Listen, as I said to you, I'm channeling my inner Lionel Messi, ready for the weekend. And I'm sure Spurs forward line is channeling their inner Lionel Messi. Look, Dan, I always like having a chat with you because, you know, it's not one of those chats where everything descends into chaos and my club's better than yours. And I just like the honesty. So I want to start by asking you, mate, listen, we'll get into the North London derby as we go. And I'll ask you a bit later about Arsenal, but can you give me an outsider's perspective? You're always very honest. I know you don't really do the childish rivalry thing, but can you give me an honest view of where do you see Tottenham? Like, I've asked you this every time you come onto the show. I ask you this: where do you see Tottenham right now, and just as a club in general? Where, as a rival fan, as a content creator, what do you see?
Let me be honest, because I think there's an element of truth in what a lot of people have been saying about Tottenham. Look, I get the privilege of having a lot of people come on my show and go on to other shows and listen to a lot of panel debates. And I listen to a lot of Tottenham Hotspur fans. And I think they're all kind of telling a little bit of the truth. And I think there's all a little bit of delusion added to what they're saying as well at the same time, if that makes sense. So where I'm at is, I think the club is run horrifically. And I have thought the club has been run horrifically for the last few years, if I'm honest. Now, as an Arsenal fan, I think it's great and it's hilarious and I hope it continues. But as a football fan, taking my Arsenal hat off, I think it's a shambles, to be quite honest. And from the outside looking in, and this is just not an Arsenal point of view, this is a footballing point of view, I feel like Tottenham have got all the gear but no idea, right? So Tottenham Hotspur have got all the gear and no idea. They've got the brilliant stadium. They've got the unbelievable, facilities. They've got the money. They can compete and should be able to compete, and they should be able to win trophies. But they go about it all so wrong. And I get very confused about their next manager appointment. I never quite know where it is. And the way you're run basically allows managers to pretty much become victims to that, really. Now, I'm not saying that you haven't appointed some bad managers, because I think you have. But I don't really feel like there's any long-term or idea with Spurs. So Tottenham Hotspur from up here have looked down and tried everything to get Tottenham to be successful. And they've done it in a complete ridiculous way, if I'm honest. Now, I think the mentality of the club's bizarre, if I'm honest with you. I think they over-celebrate stuff and overrate players and think they're the best since sliced bread, and they think they're a huge club and all this, that, and the third. But half of that is really just banter stuff, because some of it's true. You're a massive club when it comes to size and global fan base and money and all that kind of stuff, infrastructure. But when you look at what you are doing to be competitive and how successful you've been, I've moaned about how we haven't been very successful over the last couple of decades, but you guys have really taken the biscuit with that, right? So when I look at where both of our clubs are, I feel like what Tottenham have tried to do is copy everything that Arsenal were bad at, which is move stadiums at this time, try and compete. Oh, that didn't work with them. Now, I wouldn't mind so much if they were trying to copy something that was done back in 30, 40 years ago, and you thought, oh, it worked back then, but it hasn't really worked now. What you've done is you've looked at Arsenal and thought, that didn't work, but we'll try it. That didn't work, but we'll try it. Getting top four, that ain't a trophy, but we'll try to get top four and claim it. Oh, stadium, you don't need a big new stadium, but we'll go move to a new stadium. And we'll make sure that there's 100 more seats in it, so it's bigger than Arsenal's. It's just very, very bizarre, if I'm honest. I think my Tottenham fans would be concerned if I was one. It makes me shudder when I think about being a Spurs fan. But if I was one, I would be more interested in what I did on the pitch as opposed to how many seats I've got in my stadium, or who plays at my stadium, or what track is underneath it, or does my pint glass fill up from the bottom. I'm not too fussed about all that shite, if I'm honest. I'd rather just win trophies. And I think as well, Tottenham need to look at the ownership and they need to understand they have tried absolutely everything. They have literally tried everything. They have gone for Harry Redknapp, who was the loved man that everybody wanted, that we're going to have a project with. They've gone for Villas Boas, who was the data analyst behind the scenes, and Jose needed him, and he was going to give them time. They've gone for Pochettino, who was the project manager, who was going to take you from the prop to the promised land. You've gone for a system in Nuno and didn't really give him time to implement a system. You've gone for Ange Postecoglou, attack-minded football, attack, everyone up there, play high line. You've gone for the win now manager in Conte, who doesn't matter, I'll take this crap team and I'll win you something. And you've gone for the I win CV, which is Jose Mourinho. Then what you've done is gone, do you know what? I'm going to give someone a chance here. I'm going to give someone a chance in the Premier League who's been fairly respected in Thomas Frank, and let's give him a go. And that hasn't worked either. So I look at Tottenham Hotspur now and I think, where the fucking hell do you go then? Because you've tried everything. And if people are going to be like that, deluded to think that all those managers were shocking, shambles and disgrace, then it must be, you just blinkered, because it's from the top that the issue is. I look at the money that you have spent in the last God knows how long, and I look at how badly the recruitment has been. This is one of the worst Tottenham Hotspur sides I've ever seen. And I've seen some bad ones, Savva. I've seen some really bad ones, right? This is one of the worst, mate. And if I'm honest with you, I don't know how anyone can believe that this group of players are good enough to go and get top 4. They're just not. They're just not.
Dan, listen, when I say it as a Spurs fan, though, I get called toxic, etc. And by the way, people are posting in the chat. Yes, Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted about Glasner, that he could be on the move even quicker than June. Apparently, Fabrizio Romano has just said that Oliver Glasner and Crystal Palace board in direct discussions about the German manager's immediate future. Glasner will leave in June, but exit could be anticipated and happen shortly if Crystal Palace accept to proceed. So I believe that will be the 9th manager that has lost his job in a Premier League season. I think it's just crazy. And we'll talk about that a bit later, Dan. Look, I think it's interesting, mate, that you say that.
Would you take him? Would you take Glasner?
No. No. Hang on. Let me get to that in a roundabout way, because what I was about to say to you is you're bang on. Like you're bang on when you look, and Ash has said, he is Austrian, isn't he? Yeah, I think he is Austrian, Glasner. But hey, it is what it is. You hit the nail on the head. Spurs, in my lifetime, we've been through everything. I can go back even further. Like, we've had David Pleat, who was like the old stalwart Spurs man through and through. We had George Graham, the ex Arsenal man, who came in, won a trophy.
Won you a tin mate.
Never quite won the fans over. Obviously, was never going to. Then all the managers you've said, we've had Tim Sherwood as interim, Ryan Mason, the ex-player, Sherwood, the ex-Premier League winning captain, win now project. That's why I'm very much at a stance now, Dan, that I genuinely don't care who the manager is. And people will go, oh, well, you do. Dan, I genuinely don't care until upstairs actually implement a plan. And until there's an actual plan of, this is what we want to be, this is how long we're going to see it through. I don't care, because I said this about Thomas Frank. I wanted Thomas Frank. I've never hid away from I wanted Thomas Frank. What I didn't want was you give Thomas Frank 6 months and go, this hasn't worked, see you later, next. I wanted, right, if you're going to go through some shit time, go through that shit time, have the pain, and build. But Spurs don't do that. So as a Spurs fan, I'm at an utter loss now of what does it matter? Now, before we move on to Spurs Arsenal, I want to ask you, right, the number one with the bookies is Maurizio Pochettino, right? Now, they say don't ever go back to an ex, don't they?
Yeah.
There's a reason why that relationship, whatever walk of life you're in, didn't work. Do you see this as the romantic, nostalgic choice? Do you see that this is the guy that is like the ace up the sleeve for the Spurs board to unite the fan base after they've been so terrible? Is this just Spurs being Spursy? What do you see with Pochettino if he comes back to Tottenham?
I'll be honest with you, I never thought you should have lost the job anyway. And I know that you were going through bad times and people said, it was a horrific. We had no other choice. We did. Let's be real. He took you to some really good moments. And I know it wasn't successful. And I know we didn't win trophies and all that. And we banter you about that. But let's be real. in my 38 years of being a football fan, I have never seen Tottenham looking as good as they were under Pochettino. The problem you've got, Savva, is that squad was very different to the one you've got now. There's no Harry Kane. There's no Son. There's no Dele Alli, who at the time was brilliant. There's no Christian Eriksen. You haven't got Toby Alderweireld, and you haven't got Vertonghen. There we go. Loris in goal. You know, I mean, that team there is very, very, very impressive 11. And the problem Tottenham had was they had 11 players. They needed 20. They had 11. Yeah. And, you know, that's the problem with Spurs. But I say don't go back to an ex. I speak to the majority of Tottenham fans. They all want him because they're just like, give me that time back again, please, if that's what it is. The problem is, brother, it doesn't always work like that. Like, it doesn't always work like that. We've seen it with Jose Mourinho. He's gone back to Chelsea a couple of times. He's ended up getting sacks. It wasn't the 15 goals conceded win doubles, Mourinho.
It wasn't Ballack. It wasn't John Terry. Yeah, it wasn't the same team.
It wasn't Lampard. Exactly. Yeah. So when I look now, I think Pochettino. I don't think he did a good job at Chelsea. I've got to be honest. I don't like the way they played. I think it was ping pong football, but I do think that it did work and it was a good fit for Tottenham. So maybe they just want fans a little bit of sustainability, a little bit of stabilising, and a little bit of, I remember some good times, because Tottenham is a depressing place at the moment. I know you won the Europa League, but let's be real. When you beat Bodo, you know, that
feels like it never happened. So to be honest, Dan, it feels like we're the only club that can win a European trophy, but sandwiched in between finishing 17th and currently being 16th in the league, right? Like it wasn't something that propelled us to, that was my thing in the summer. You know, we said, look, we scraped through the back door of the Champions League. We weren't a Champions League team from the squad and the players. And I said to myself in the summer, well, I say to the internet, got to go big. You've got to, in that summer, you've got to go big. You've got to bring in 6, 7, 8 players, bring in Champions League ready-made players.
I felt for you. I felt for you personally in the summer, because I know how much shit you got with Ange winning a trophy and all this crap. Because I would get the same if Arteta wins a trophy. I would get the same. It'll be like, you can't celebrate it. You don't deserve to come to the parade. All that crap will happen, right? So, and I felt for you because I know you're a genuine Tottenham fan. I know you literally strive the best for the club. And I know how bad you wanted Ange out, and you were right to, by the way. Because look what we did at Forest. It was horrific. So when you look at, the fact that you'd won that trophy, and people are saying you can't celebrate it, you don't deserve it, all that crap. That's exactly what me and a certain section of the fan base that have not always believed in Mikel Arteta will get if we do win something this season, or if we're lucky enough to win more than one this season. So I kind of felt for you there. And look, everything you were saying was right. You were 17th, bruv. I mean, that is unacceptable for Tottenham Hotspur to be 17th, right? And I know that people said it was an anomaly, but does it not give you a bit of a damning indictment that you are now 16th or 15th or whatever the hell it is you are now? And you've got a similar squad that has not been built upon. You've brought in poor players, in my opinion. I look at the recruitment at Tottenham. I don't really understand it. I think when you look at the 2 players that have probably been your best ever in the Premier League, in Harry Kane and Bale, you look at the money you got for them, and you look at the players you've bought in. It's like, where the fucking hell has that money gone? And I look at
no succession planning though for any of those, Dan.
That's the problem. You can sell these players.
You can add Son to that. You can add Son to that, right? You think they would have known that Kane made the fuss, didn't he, in 2021, 22, whenever it was that he wanted to leave, and we knew we were on borrowed time. We did nothing to replace him. And then Son, we knew Son was going, and not only did we, it's not even like we replaced him with someone bad. We didn't replace him, Dan. We didn't even, we didn't replace him. And this would be like you guys now, right? I know, slightly strange because Bukayo Saka's just signed a new 5-year contract. But if Bukayo Saka left this summer, the first thing you're saying is, okay, you've got your 100 million, whatever, for Bukayo Saka. The first thing you Arsenal fans are saying, right, is, right, okay, cool. Who you bringing in?
Yeah.
Which right?
And essentially, it's the equivalent of us just going, well, Madueke, over to you. That's basically what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Except we're doing it with kids. Like, we're doing it with ours was Odegaard's help. It's over to you. And that's the shame of it, right? That's the shame of it, that Spurs have never really seemed to have that oomph to go, that we've never really had that that desire from the board to actually want to go and compete with you lot, with City, with Liverpool. Now, I'm not saying we're as big as those 3 clubs I just mentioned, but when you look at the stadium, when you look at the revenue that is generated, when you look at our global reach because of concerts and boxing and NFL and all this kind of stuff, you would think that we could go out in summer transfer windows and really attack it, right? Like really, really show other clubs we mean business. But we never have. Bare minimum every window.
It has been. And look, I look at the money that Postecoglou spent, which was something crazy, like 450 million euros or something mad like that. And I look at the money you'd spent when Bale was sold and Kane was sold. There's only really, off the top of my head, Christian Eriksen that came in that I thought was quality. All the rest of them were like Nasser Chadli and like Soldado and all these guys. And I'm thinking, what are they doing? And Kane, let's be real, is exactly the same. And you're right about Son. He's not been replaced. But I look at your squad. I've just brought it up now. I look at it and I just think it is very, very average, mate. I've got to be honest. I'm not saying it's an Arsenal fan. I just think it is.
I'm not allowed to say it, Dan. I'm not allowed to say it. My own fans, not my fans, but the Spurs fans, my own fan base, that get very frustrated with me when I call out how average I think this football squad is.
They are, Sav. They are, Sav. They're really average, bro. I don't rate them, and look, I shouldn't rate them. But I'm not one of these fans who came on and said that Kane's pretty shit. He's overrated, or Son is overrated, like some of the Arsenal fans do. I genuinely saw how good that Pochettino 11 was, right? But I look at Vicario, I think he flaps too much. Dragusin, not for me. Danso, I think he's done okay, right? Since he's come in, he's done okay. Paulinho, I think he's actually a very good player, but he's not the answer to your legs moving forward in your midfield. Xavi Simons, I think, has been hit and miss, but there's clearly a player there. Bissouma, I just don't get it. I think it might be time for him to shoot off. Richarlison is one of the most horrific players I've seen in a long time, and I can't stand him. But he's very, very hot and cold, and mentality's all over the gaff, in my opinion. James Maddison, I've always rated and always thought was a baller, but he's just a little bit injury prone. Matthias Tell, that's fine bringing him in for the future, but you need to surround him with experience and quality if he's going to make it at the club, in my opinion. Same with Odebear. Archie Graham Bergval, exactly the same. Promising talents, but are they ready now? Probably not. Udogie, I thought he had a very good one season, but I'm feeling like it might be a one-hit wonder for him because I haven't seen him since that first year that he came on the scene. Romero, sorry, mate, not what I need in my team. The discipline is completely out the window, and it's just a disgrace that he's the captain of your club, in my opinion. Good footballer, really good passer of the ball, good defender, but completely rash and nuts. Dominic Solanke, I actually think is okay. I think he'd be a fair player, to be fair to him, but I think he could probably score more goals. But, you know, for what Tottenham are, I think he's okay. I think Kudus is a very good player. I know he's dropped off a bit, but I think he's a very good player. Kulusevski's been injured all season, but I do think he's good. Conor Gallagher's okay to bring in as a squad player, but I don't think he's going to take Tottenham to new heights. Porro, I've never thought he was good defensively, but I thought he was very good going forward. Jed Spencer's a very good player. I think he's an excellent one-on-one defender. Odebear's a very young player. I've mentioned him. Pat Sarr is probably one of the most underrated players in your team. I always think Spurs look a bit better when he's playing in midfield, but I don't think he's like a Patrick Vieira by any means. Bentancur, Kerr, I don't know what he does. I'm sorry. I don't understand what Bentancur Kerr does. I can't believe you still got Ben Davies. Mickey van der Ven is clearly a very good centre-half. And then Kolo Muani is meh, in my opinion. There's not many players there, Savva, that I've gone through and gone, wow, I'm so jealous of him. You just got to say it how it is. Like, some of those are very, very meaty, average players, and I wouldn't expect them to get top four. Now, I was a bit crazy at the start of the season and said I fancy Spurs to nick into the top six just because everyone's pretty crap and Frank will make you hard to beat. But I never said, well, that squad's too good not to be in the top six. I actually was stupid enough to think that Thomas Frank was going to be, you know, here longer than he was and would take it through. But I never expected Tottenham to be a Champions League team with that squad. I'm sorry, like, it doesn't have the quality in it. And, you know, how many teams would look at those players and go, like, let's just say you get relegated, right? Could happen. I don't think it will. But let's just say you get relegated. How many teams are going to go, yes, fucking hell, right, that's bingo. Let's go and have some fun with Tottenham's squad. We'll go and have them all. I reckon you probably lose 3 players or something. That'd be it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you know, it's a sad indictment. It's a damning assessment of our squad, but you're not wrong. And I think, look, there's obviously going to be a degree of bias, right? Fans want to back their own club, and I've got no problem with that. But one thing, you know, I've never been able to do, Dan, is just, I can't just pretend. Like, just because I'm a Spurs fan, I can't pretend that footballers are better than they are. And you're right. When you look at that squad, I think the ones that you said with absolute certainty were really good players were Maddison, who's out for the season, Kudus, who's out for 4 months, Mickey van der Ven, who's currently the captain, and Jed Spencer's a one-on-one defender, right? Now, look, I like Conor Gallagher from the point of view. I think Conor Gallagher's the ultimate team player, but in the right setup, right? I don't think you can just drop him into a shit team and everything changes. But when you look at that, I would wake up tomorrow, Dan, and if 20 of this 25-man squad had been sold, I'm not going to shed tears if anyone leaves, by the way. But I think I shed tears when David Ginola left. I'll be brutally honest.
Yeah.
I mean, when Ginola left, I was like, I hate you, George Graham. I hate
what
you.
A player, man. What a player. What a player.
But there's no one where you would go, oh my God, how on earth? Who's selling him? Who made that decision? There's nothing. There's nothing there. And that's why at the beginning of the season, I said, I think with a fully fit squad, I think we're 6th or 7th. That's with Solanke fit for the year, Maddison fit for the year, Kulu fit for the year, Kudus, Romero, Van der Ven, like all of them fit. What we're seeing is from last year, Dan, we took out, obviously Maddison's out for the year, so is Kulu. Sonny left and Solanke missed the first 6 months of this season. Last year, those 4 got 89 GA.
Yeah.
Right. And we've not replaced it. So when Spurs fans are going, oh, you didn't say this about the squad under Ange. I'm like, yeah, but Ange had forwards that could score goals. Now we attack and I'm going, who's grabbing you a goal? Like who's...
Well, your centre halves are the ones scoring, aren't they? Your centre halves.
And Paulinho.
Yeah.
Our DM. So, but look, for me, this is where I've always said, and I think a lot of people who watch me get really frustrated because I say it all the time. I look at other clubs, how they've operated, and I'm jealous. And I don't mean Arsenal. I don't mean City.
Villa,
I don't mean Liverpool.
like Villa,
I look at Villa and Newcastle, who are probably in that same kind of bracket as us. And I go, how are they buying solid Premier League signings and building a decent squad that competes for top 4? And I'm sitting here watching Odeber. I'm sitting here watching Papasar and Dragoshin and Vicario. Do you know what I mean? Bergval and Gray. And I just don't get it, Dan, what's happened to my football club. I genuinely don't understand it.
No, because people do look at Tottenham and go, oh, they've always had crap players. But I look over the years, and I've been watching the football since the early 90s, and you haven't always had crap players. You've just mentioned David Ginola, and there's been Klinsmann and Sheringham that were in your team for years. And then you go to the Pochettino years, and you think, wow, what an 11 that was. So it's not like Tottenham have never had good players. It's not like, well, this has always been the way. The problem with Tottenham is the recruitment has been so poor, because the squad I've just read out there, it hasn't cost like 100 grand. It's cost you know,
we spend.
Close to like exactly, you spend money. So what you've essentially done is you've gone and bought a Kit Kat for 75 pence, but paid like £5.75 for it. That's basically what you've done, right?
I
and
like
for
Kit
players,
Kats.
do you know what I mean? I like Kit Kats as well. I'm not sure I pay £5.35 for one, but I do like
No.
And that's where I'm at. Like, I think that you've overpaid for what you've got. And I think sometimes what you've done also is you've looked at these young players who I actually think, to be fair, a handful of youngsters at Tottenham look like they could be quite good. But what you've got to do is you've got to surround them with some generals and some experience, you know what they're doing. Because, like, people talk about the class of 92. It's such a myth that was a young side. It was surrounded by Roy Keane and Brian Robson and Brian McClare and Eric Cantona and Steve Bruce,
Mark Hughes
Alistair and
Paul.
Dennis Irwin. What we're talking about, like, it's just because Gary Neville and Beckham were young doesn't mean that the whole team was. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at. So I think what you've got to do is you've got to surround that with experience. And when people like Odebear, who I think one day might be good, or Bergval or Spence, or whatever it be, whoever you want to pick that's young, and they're looking up and they're seeing Richarlison, and they're seeing, you know, what's the name in midfield, Bissouma, and at the back they've got Porro and stuff. And you think, these aren't generals that have been there and done it. You know, if you're going to go and get players that are young, it's great. Everyone should have young players. I think that's great to come through, but they need to be learning off of the best. And it's something that I've always had a question mark about, is when we look up and see players that haven't won anything at Arsenal, is that really the best when all of our team is young? And, you know, that's always been my problem, but we'll come to that when we go to Arsenal. But that's always been my issue with teams that try and go with young players surrounded by players that haven't done or won anything in the game.
Yeah, no, mate, you're absolutely right. I mean, do you know what? This is a really good point here from V. Katzi. He said, even during our worst times, we always had at least one player that was a superstar. And I guess if I go back to this man's era, and obviously I've got him ready. Obviously, my man David. if I look back to the team that Ginola played in, right, that team was actually like a 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th place squad, Dan, right? But what that team had, and sorry, Spurs fans, shut your ears if you're easily offended. What that team had was Campbell at centre half. Sorry. Sorry. Right, we had Sol Campbell at centre half and David Ginola on the wing. And you knew that Sol Campbell was going to do enough at the back to stop us being relegated or stop that defence being a shit show. Because, and I know people hate him, but I'm a grown adult. I can't be bothered to hate anybody. He was world class. Yeah, and then they gave the ball to
Sheringham up front, already gone to United at that point.
He'd gone. Well, he'd gone, then he came back.
Yeah.
But we gave the ball to Ginola, and everything felt okay in the world for the time where we gave it to Ginola. And I've been very lucky on this podcast. I've interviewed Darren Anston, Alan Nilsson, and Ramon Vega, 3 players that played in the cup-winning team with Ginola. And I had to ask all of them, like, what did you make of Ginola? And they all said the same thing. They said, when we needed a few minutes without being under pressure, we would get the ball to David.
Give him the ball,
do something, right? And they said that Justin Edinburgh, rest in peace, would literally look up and go, right, where's David? Give it to David. David will take it away from danger. He'll beat 3 men. He'll score a goal. And you came away going, we know what we are. We're a mid-table team, but the entry fee was worth it. Did you see that Cruyff term from Ginola? Did you see that? Now I look at this Spurs team. There is not
There's only Kudus in there, really, that does a trick once in a while. That's it, really.
Yeah.
I've met David Ginola. I don't know if you've met him. He's a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah. I've met him once. And he always said he smelled amazing. He just smelled amazing, man. Dan.
He did, yeah. He did. I met him in 2012. It was a long time ago. But it was a year that we were going toe-to-toe with Spurs for top 4. And I met him at Soccer AM. I don't know if you remember Soccer AM. But I went to Soccer AM, and I did. And I went with some mates. I was one of the fans in the crowd, like, and he came over and I was wearing my Arsenal shirt, and he shook my hand and he said, "Good luck between us, good luck." And I thought, what a top bloke! Like, he could have just ignored me, you know what I mean? And he was quality. And then they do that thing where you got to kick the ball through the goal and all that. And he was brilliant fun. And he came over, had a picture with us, got a picture on one of my old phones from like 15 years ago. And he was such a good lad. So I've got a lot of time for him, and I thought he was an exceptional player. Exceptional. Newcastle and Spurs, he was absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, man, top player. And unfortunately, you don't have much of that anymore. And in general, I'm talking, you don't have many tech gifted players like that anymore. It's a different kind of tech, in my opinion. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe it's more about pace and power now, but I looked at gifted players like Cantona and Zola and Bergkamp and Ginola and that era, and I don't think we're going to get that back, if I'm honest with you, bruv. Maybe I'm being nostalgic, but I don't think we are.
But you know what? It was always something to look forward to when you watch them play. Now when I watch Spurs play, and this is why, I had a guy in here yesterday, someone in the chat, getting really annoyed with me because I was saying about the Odebers and the Tells and the Richarlison and Solankis that they just don't do anything for me. It's like, don't be toxic, get behind the team. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about, that doesn't mean, if Tell starts against you boys on Sunday, you don't think I want Matisse Tell to score a hat-trick and win the North London Derby? Like, of course I do, but I don't get the excitement of watching it now. I don't watch any of them. I think the word I'm looking for, Dan, is anticipation. I don't ever, the ball doesn't go to anyone in the Spurs team and I think, yeah, that guy's going to do something. City had it. They were crap back in the day, but you'd have little Georgie Kincladze. Remember little Georgie Kincladze?
Kincladze was so good, man. So good.
Coventry had, like, Darren Huckabee, just did different things every now and then where you went, you can play. They had Haji and Chippo, depending on people's age, depending if you remember these players. Bolton had JJ Okocha.
Yeah.
Now I watch Tottenham and go, who is it that I'm meant to be thinking, this is a really good player for me to watch? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And
what
you're
is
right
it?
there, because you've named teams that should not have the world class players, but they had the quality player. Like
Yeah,
Leticio
yeah.
at Southampton was one of the best I ever see. Leticio was unbelievable to watch, but he was stayed at Southampton and showed that loyalty. But when you look
Mhm.
at it, these players could have gone anywhere. Do you know what I mean? But there
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah,
different, it was
yeah.
different back then, and there were so many of them, And you're right to mention like Coventry and
Yeah.
Norwich and
Janino
Wimbledon
at
and players
Middlesbrough.
like this. Janino, Middlesbrough had
Yeah,
loads of
yeah,
them. Ravanelli, Janino. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're so spot on, mate. You are so spot on. And there's these players that you look at now, and you just, yeah, you're right. There's not many of them around anymore. But I
No.
think that's, I always thought that was me just being like, oh, it's just nostalgia. You think you watch the best years. I genuinely do think the 90s and the 2000s. I can't mention the 80s because I was born in 87, but I
No,
genuinely
there were
do think the
top
90s and
players in the 80s as
2000s.
well, mate. Top players in
Well,
the
there you
80s as
go.
well. I was there. I was there.
Exactly. There you go. So, so look, I'll be honest. I do think that. And I think now, when we're looking at, left, let's just take left wing, right? Someone that everyone wants a left winger, let's say, or even a striker, but we'll stick with left wingers. I look
Yeah.
now and I think the left wingers in the league, who are the best left wingers in the league? Like, there's not many of them. Whereas years ago, you could have said Mane and Hazard and Bale, and then in the years before that, you could have said David Silva or Pires or Giggs. You could just keep listing them off. Now, I'm really struggling. Like,
Yeah.
left wingers, who are there? And and strikers as well. Like, if Harry Kane gets injured for England, Ollie Watkins is the next best option. Now,
Yeah.
when I was growing up in England, watching England, the reason Ian Wright and Andy Cole couldn't get a game, or Letitia couldn't get a game, or Robbie Fowler or couldn't get a game, because Shearer and Sheringham were there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
nowadays, it's like, oh shit, Kane's injured. Well, that's England's World Cup, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
No,
know, it's
you're
crazy,
right.
man. Where are the
You,
players?
you think you're so right. When you look at Ian Wright, Andy Cole, Robbie Fowler, right? Chris Sutton, Les Ferdinand. Like, we could go. How many of these players got hardly any goals? Sorry, any caps for England?
Yep.
In this era, right now, they'd all be getting games. Like, this is it's truly worrying, the state of it, and the fact that we're now talking about. So Joe will probably be loving it. The fact that they're now talking about, does Dominic Calvert-Lewin, kind of scrape into an England squad?
Does Danny Welbeck get back into the England squad? It's like, where has everyone gone?
Like
Where is the next
48
player
or something?
It's embarrassing, really, isn't it?
But yeah, I suppose the point is that when I look at Spurs now, I guess for the younger fans, they call everyone a baller. Everyone's a baller. They watch Bergvall and go, "Oh my God, he's the greatest." And I watch these players and go, "Yeah, this is nothing compared to what I grew up with." I remember when I remember my first proper memory of a young player coming through. I mean, like, from when I was probably 8 or 9, was Nicky Barmby, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, when Nicky Barmby came through, he could play on the right, on the left, up front, in midfield. He was energetic. He scored goals. He assisted. And I remember going, yeah, we got fans now that watch Bergvall and they go, "Oh my God, this guy's ceiling. And I'm like, when did we all start talking like this, Dan? Like, when, I don't know if I'm a grumpy old man, but when did we all start talking about floors and ceilings? And do you know what? We're not past.
I know. I think when people say there could be a great player one day, I hear it, but I don't quite know what the ceiling means. I never heard that before, but until a couple of years ago. But I think when you look at it, people are putting players in the chat now, and maybe people will say we're going back going back too far there. We're going back too far. Oh, let's not go back too far then, with Jermaine Defoe and Peter Crouch and Emil Heskey and Jaron Bent and Gabriel Bonlaw. Where are they all now? Like, and they weren't like, whoa, you're going to win the league if you have one of them. They were like just really good strikers. Yeah. I mean, they're all better than Watkins and Solanke and Tammy Abraham and Calvert-Lewin and Welbeck, aren't they? You know what I mean? It's really weird where the talent's gone, man. The talent pool is just gone.
But this is why, there's one guy who always comes into here, right? I think his name's like Plasma or something. That's probably his Christian name. And he always says to me, "Oh, Savva, he just doesn't get Dominic Solanke." And I watch Dominic Solanke, and Dan, let me. Dominic Solanke for me is a decent Premier League footballer. He's decent, right? He's okay. Right. He will grab you a few goals here or there. He works hard. He presses. He's strong. He's built for it. But I then look back at all the strikers I've seen at Spurs, even the average ones. Like, I remember a time when Spurs had Berbatov, Keane, Defoe, and Bent, all in one squad, right? All four of them better than what is Tottenham's best striker now.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So Darren Bent couldn't get a game for love nor money at Spurs because he wasn't anywhere near as good as Defoe, Keane, and Berbatov. Right now, is better than Dominic Solanke was. Now, the standards for me have gone so far downhill that I think that's where we chat offline. I always question: am I too old for YouTube? Like, am I not in that mindset of just thinking that everyone is amazing? Because the way so many people talk about these average footballers truly baffles me, Dan. And that will bring us full circle to this Spurs squad. For me, it needs to have its best 11 out to have any chance of European football. Without that, we are now a bottom half team. Without those players, without the Madisons, without the Koglous, without the Kuduses, we are a bottom half team. And as much as you probably think that's funny being an Arsenal fan, that's really sad that we've allowed that to happen from where we were building a new stadium.
Look, I've always thought you spoke sense, Sav, to be fair. I've always believed in what you've said about Spurs. And I know not everyone agrees with you because they're very precious about their football club. But I think you say it how it is. And I've always believed that, I've said it how it is about Arsenal. I think what I look at from the outside looking in, and look, I hope Spurs suffer because I can't stand the club. And I know you hate Arsenal fans. But when I look at it, I think actually, like, when you've got the stadium you've got, the facilities you've got, the money you've got, you really shouldn't be 15th and 17th in the league. Like, you really shouldn't be. Something has gone horrifically wrong there. There's a massive failure of it. And, I always kind of sat on the fence with Daniel Levy a bit because as much as I couldn't stand him, I actually think some of the good that happened to Tottenham Hotspur over the last couple of decades, he was a big part of. And I think he did some good things for Tottenham. Now, my problem with Daniel Levy from an outside looking in perspective was he done some good things, but never wanted to go there. He was always happy to just go there. Yeah. So a top four, hey, we're happy here. Why didn't you try and go and win the league then? Or why didn't you go and do the next bit? Why didn't you show the ambition to try and do something else? And that was what I always believed with Daniel Levy. And I always said that if he does go, Tottenham will still be a problem. It's not just him that's the issue, really. Was a big issue in my opinion. But it wasn't like, well, Levy's gone, hey, Tottenham going to go win the league. This is like a long way to go for Spurs if you want to go and do that. So that's where I'm at, man.
Well, look, before I've got to ask you this, right? Obviously, look, welcome to everyone in the chat, by the way. The likes are absolutely atrocious. But hey, we move. 84 likes.
Come on, people. That's dreadful.
I've got to ask you this. You're on before we get to the North London Derby, you're on a Spurs channel. And you mentioned Levy. Our new Levy is an ex-Gooner by the name of Vinay Venkatesham. I'm not going to lead you with anything about what I think all the Spurs fans think. Vinay Venkatesham, just talk to me.
Okay, so Vinay Venkatesham was at Arsenal for quite a few years, and I'm yet to understand what he did. I don't think anybody understood what he did at Arsenal. There was no understanding whatsoever until the European Super League. I think that was what he was trying to be a part of when that Super League came out. The Kroenke said, there you go, Vinay, that's your next project. Go and sort this European Super League out. And then he got a hell of a lot of backfire and it went south. Other than that, Savva, I can't tell you that this guy's done much at all. Now, he was surrounded at the time by Edu, who we've all seen at Forest is an absolute shambles at what he tries to do. He was also surrounded at times by Evan Gazidis, who was shockingly bad alongside Wenger. And he has been surrounded by some poor people as well at Arsenal. So I can't say that what he did at Arsenal was all him and it was shocking and he's going to go and be terrible at Spurs. But I do not understand what he did. And I'm yet to find an Arsenal fan who can tell me what this guy was doing at Arsenal that was so great. Even when the documentary came out, Vinay Venkatesham did not really feature much in it or look like he did much. And you'd think that when there's a documentary in cameras, you'd want that PR to go, look at me, I'm brilliant. Well, we saw Josh Kroenke, we saw Richard Garlick, we saw Edu, and of course we saw a lot of Mikel Arteta. I didn't see anything that Vinay Venkatesham was doing there, and I still don't know what he's done previously. So good luck with the old CEO stuff. He's your new Levy, but he did nothing at Arsenal. Maybe he'll surprise and do something at Spurs. But I would love to know his job role. I'd love to understand what he did and what he was supposed to do at Arsenal, and also what he is going to be requested to do at Tottenham before I make a judgment on his time at Tottenham, because I imagine the fans are a bit confused about what he's doing at your place as well.
Yeah, I think the difficulty for us is, right, that, I mean, look, he's turned up and it's almost like the George Graham thing, right?
Mm.
You know, he's turned up and it doesn't matter if he was the greatest CEO in the world. He is from Arsenal, right? And,
Yeah.
and people won't let that go. Now, for me, I wasn't so bothered about he's from Arsenal. For me, it's like anything, right? Show me what you can do. You've been in the industry for years. Show us what you're about. And he starts off with all these promotional videos, him alongside Daniel Levy. It looked like it was a Tinder dating video, you know, like, oh, no, you're the best. No, you're the best. I've admired you. Oh, God, let me kiss you. And, oh, I don't know. Right. And he talked so much about communication. He talked about transparency. He talked about being communicative with the Tottenham fans and letting us know what's going on. And so far under his watch, Dan, we have hired Fabio Paratici and made him joint director of football with Lang, which a lot of people, including like you know, Sean Butler, said turn around at the time and he said, look, hang on, put your balls on the line, make a decision. Make one of them the man and the other one underneath him. Make that decision. He didn't. He's lost Paratici in that time. He's lost our assistant manager, Matt Wells, has gone out to, was it the Colorado Rapids or something out in America? He's taken far too long to sack Frank because he didn't back him. I was somebody that very much said, fine if you want to sack him, but if you don't, you've got to back him in the January window. So he's overseen a terrible window. Now he's sacked him. Now he's brought in Tudor, who was Paratici's guy after Paratici's left the football club. And the fans are left wondering, Dan, what are you here to do?
What's going on?
What are you capable of? Like, we don't know what this man is. I don't think anyone can say they hate him, but they don't. I don't know what he does. I don't know.
No.
Does he have a black book of
we didn't know what
managers
he does either,
and director of football and age? I don't know, mate. So I just had to ask you that.
You're right to ask, and I didn't know what he did either. And when he went, I haven't noticed a difference, mate. So I don't know if that's good or bad news, but what news you wanted to hear. But I don't feel like you're in good or safe hands with him. I don't think you could look at him and go, I'll tell you what, that's a great appointment, that, because I wouldn't know what he did. And if I'm honest with you, if he wasn't there, maybe I would have seen something not happen, but I couldn't tell you what that might have been. So nicking the living really is what I would suggest.
Well, look, let's move to the North London derby. So Tottenham Arsenal, it's a strange one, right? This coincides with Spurs having a new manager. Somebody with more intelligence than me in the chat will be able to tell me, is this the first time a new manager has started with a home game against Arsenal? Let me know in the chat if you can think of any other manager. So new manager. So your manager probably won't know what to expect from what our manager's going to do. It coincides with you guys are stuttering, I think would be a polite way of you know, you've only lost 1 in 20, but lots of draws and not getting over the line. Is this a better time for you to play us or us to play you? There's my first question.
That's a brilliant question. And it's hard to answer because I don't know what Tottenham we're going to get. I can take a guess if you want. I can take a guess at what I think. So I think this Igor Tudor guy, and I don't know, I didn't even know he was a manager. I've got to be honest. I knew him as a centre-back at Juventus years ago, but I think he's been brought in to just go, don't send us down. Just do what you can. Yeah, do what you can to take points off of as many teams as you can and keep us as high up as the league as you can. We know we're not really going to be able to win that Champions League, which we're in, but let's see how far we can get in it. Just get us anywhere between 17th and 14th and keep us there. That's what I think he's been brought in to do, because realistically, let's be honest, it's not looking good at Tottenham, right? And I think the way he's going to probably do that is, any defensive-minded player that you've got is going to play, and I think he's going to try to make it 1-0 Tottenham, 1-0 Tottenham, 0-0 Tottenham, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0, 1-0 Tottenham, 0-0, 1-1, as much as he can, as many games as he can. And that's what I expect him to try and do at the weekend. I think he knows if he tries to come and play football that Arsenal can get the better of a team. He also will look at the fact that a draw is a very, very good result for many reasons. One, it gives you a point away from all your relegation rivals at the moment. And also what it does, it puts a massive dent in Arsenal's title race. So I think Tottenham have probably never wish for a point more than they could right now, because it means so much for them. It's like, yeah, new manager bounce, a point, didn't lose to Arsenal, damaged their title race, and it's pulled us away a little bit from the likes of West Ham, Forest, Palace, all the others that are down there with you. So that's what I expect him to try and do, and how he should try to set up. And to answer your question, is it good time for us to play you? Probably not, if I'm honest, because we come off the back of a really disappointing couple of draws against Brentford and Wolves in the league. We go into a game which is a North London derby, which form goes out the window in. And also, you go into a new manager bounce. And the last time we did that, Michael Carrick beat us 3-2. So I don't think it's a good time to play Tottenham, if I'm honest. I don't think it's a good time to... maybe it's to play Tottenham is the wrong term. Maybe it's not a good time for a North London derby, I would say, is probably the way to look at it.
Sure.
Because Tottenham and Arsenal, I've seen Tottenham looking bloody good and Arsenal beat them. And I've thought Arsenal looked bloody good and Tottenham have beat them. So form does go out the window because it is one of those pressure games. And we've seen over the last 5 years, 6 years, that Arsenal don't handle pressure very well. So I think this is a good time for you to play us, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've got so many injuries that I'd love to sit here and be able to go, oh, well, you don't know what he's going to play. You don't know who's going to be up front. We absolutely know, right? We've got no options. So
go on then. So I don't know. So who is the team? What is the team? Do you think?
I mean, the only fit forwards that Tottenham have got in the entire squad would be Solanke, Mwani, and Tell. I don't know if anyone in the chat. I mean, Kudus is out. Johnson was sold. Odegaard's out. Maddison's out. Kulu's out. Richarlison's out. Don't get me wrong.
Got to be investigated, by the way. That's way too many injuries to be getting in a season. And you had it last year as well. We've had some as well, and it needs investigating. I don't know if it's because people are playing too much football, or if the training intensity is too much, or if the training grounds are shit now. But you cannot be getting so many muscle injuries. It is a joke, really. You know, if you get an ACL, it's a bit of bad luck, or you break your leg in a game. I hear it. It's horrific and it's bad luck. But when you get 6 weeks out with this muscle, another couple of weeks out with a niggle, another couple of weeks out with this, that's something that needs investigating there, in my opinion. It really does. But look, for those front three, it doesn't really scare me too much. But I've been here before and said that, and people have scored against us. So you never know.
I think the only question mark is we know which players are available. The only question mark is going to be what formation does this guy come in and play? We know he normally likes to play a back three, but you look at it now and go, right, at the moment, Spurs have only got 2 centre-halves fit. So it's kind of like, how does he, and that's what it's kind of been all season.
Who's that, Van der Ven and
Dragoshin and Van der Ven, unless Danso has recovered from his injury. But it's always players that aren't fit. It's always we're bringing back people so quickly rather than integrating them into the team slowly after injury. So look, I think that's going to be the only question mark. I guess for me, this is going to be quality-wise. I think you guys absolutely superior to us. Football quality, you guys superior. I think this is going to be about what can he breathe into the team, what energy, what belief. You know, all the stuff, all the hard-working stuff away from the quality word, that's going to have to be what Igor Tudor puts into this team. Energy, work rate, tracking, pressing, all of that kind of stuff. But I say this every show, Dan, and my viewers get really annoyed with me. I'm sure they do. I don't see where our goals come from. I've never seen such a lackluster set of forwards at Tottenham. I mean, Solanke, Mwani, by the way, Mwani has not scored a Premier League goal. It's February. He's not scored a Premier League goal.
I was really questionable about that signing in quite a good way, because I thought there's clearly a talent there, and like he's done well when he's been at the other previous clubs and he scored goals, and I thought that might be an all right signing, that, and he's just not looked very good. He's just not looked very good, has he? You know,
he didn't want to be here, Dan. Like his move to Juventus fell through on the penultimate day of the transfer window. So then the next day it was like, right, hang on, the window shuts in 4 hours. Oh, hang on, Dominic Solanke's gone down with a 6-month injury. Who's available? Well, Mwani. And if you're Mwani, you're probably thinking, I don't want to be at Tottenham.
Well, he's not playing like he's any better than Tottenham. Let's be real. Like, it's not like he's going to go get a big club move. He's just not been very good. But I think, look, with Arsenal's team, I mean, I think we have got so many players at the moment that need a rest, Savva. Like, there's a lot of them that are on the red zone, which is why I think we've struggled so much. And I think the system is definitely an issue in terms of our goals that mostly are coming from our defenders and midfielders like you. But when I look at the scenario of where we're at, I've seen Raya have a couple of really dodgy games, and that's really unlike him. Gabriel's had 2 absolute stinkers of the last 2. Obviously, Timber, who I think has been one of our most improved and best players in the last couple of seasons. I've been amazed with how good he's been. He's looked horrific in the last 2 games. Saliba's been spun a couple of times, which is unusual for him. They're all looking a little bit tiresome. And Zubimendi and Rice is definitely blowing out of his backside. I mean, the guy's got unbelievable set of lungs on him, but he really is. He's a machine, but he really is struggling. And attacking wise, we really don't look very good. So I don't think that this Arsenal side is, it's not unfair to say this Arsenal side isn't scary and will blitz you, because it doesn't really blitz teams. The only teams, funny enough, it has blitzed this season have been Tottenham and Villa in the league, that is anyway. Other than Leeds, who, we'd expect to beat quite comfortably, really, on paper. We've put 9 goals past them in 2 games. So we've split them. But really and truly, most of them have been 1-0, 1-1s, 2-1s, a couple of 2-0s. We haven't blitzed teams yet. So I don't think that you can say you go into this game thinking they're going to put 3 or 4 past us. I really don't think that we will. I don't think we do that. I will say I don't think that you'll put 3 or 4 past us either. I don't think any team does. I think the only team...
I don't see us putting 3 or 4 past a Sunday league team.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, but you lot are interesting, right? Like, I mean, I'd love to... I know lots of Spurs fans do the whole bottling thing. You know me, Dan. I don't really care for all that.
Yeah.
But, you have got to this stage where, I think a couple of months ago, most people would have said, oh, this is done. Like the title's done. It's Arsenal's. There's no way City come back. City were drawing loads of games. Where are you at now in your mindset with this? Because if I bring up the Premier League table, and I suppose this, I'm not one of those who wants my team to lose so Arsenal don't win the league. That's not where I am. But City are breathing right down your necks, right? They've got Newcastle United at home on Saturday night, if I'm not wrong. I think it's the 8 p.m. kickoff. I fully expect City will beat Newcastle, if I'm honest. 2 points behind you with 10 games. What you saying? What you saying?
What? No, go on, bro. What am I saying? Quite a lot, bruv, if I'm honest. But unfortunately, it's not too different to what I've been saying. It's not too dissimilar to what I've been saying about Arsenal and Arteta for the last 5 or 6 years. I'll be real with you. I never was convinced that we could get across the line. And until he's proven me wrong and that he can shove a trophy in people's faces, I'm going to always have that doubt. Arsenal, in my opinion, have bottled leagues before. And to be fair, we bottled leagues before Mikel Arteta. I mean, we were 12 points clear at one stage, or I think it was 8 or 9 points clear at one stage under Arsene Wenger, and didn't win the league in 2003. So it's not just a Mikel Arteta thing, but I tell you what it is for the last 6 years, it's been a Mikel Arteta thing, because he has bottled a lot of opportunities. And it's not just league titles, by the way. If you think about it, he's been struggling to get, since he's won that FA Cup, back into another final. He's now got there. Can he get across the line in one? Because it's fine getting there, but can you actually get across the line? Then you go into the Premier League scenario, and you look at the year that we tried to get top 4 when you had Conte. He bottled that. Then we went into a league scenario, and he threw that away after being 8 points clear. Then we have put ourselves into a very good position this season, where a lot of people think, what you're moaning for, mate. You're in a Carabao Cup final, top of the Champions League, top of the league, and the FA Cup. Yeah. I have been here before in February, and I have been here before in October, and I have been here before. I don't care what we're in until we lift something in May. That's where I'm at now. Now, it might be different. If you support an Everton or a Newcastle or a West Ham or maybe a Sunderland, and it's no disrespect to those clubs, you would absolutely give your right arm to be in our position. Sure. Of course you would, right? Of course you would. But there are a different set of expectations and circumstances with those clubs than there is with Arsenal, because this manager has had 6 years of patience. He's had £1 billion spent. You need to get across the line now. This team, this league, Savva, is absolutely pitiful when you look at the quality of it. There is no excuses now. There is no excuses now. We have the best squad. We've had an unbelievable amount of money spent, a serious amount of patience. It's time to deliver now. And I've said before, just win me a trophy. I'm starving over here. Give me a trophy and I'll give you another chance, because I have been critical of him over the years, because I feel like we get to that and go, competing, crumble. Oh, semi-final, crumble.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we can keep going like that. Now,
did you peak too soon? Did you peak too soon this year? Because there was one point where you were sweeping everyone before you in the Premier League. You were smashing the life out of the Champions League. You were so far gone in that. And I think, I'll be honest, as a Spurs fan, you look and go, "Oh my God, are these lot going to do the quad?" You know, and you know it's not going to happen. But you look at it and go, "God, they are good." But as you've got into January, February, yes, you're still top of those things, but it's just starting to look a little bit ordinary within your team, isn't it?
The problem you've got though, Savva, is the time of year. Like, we're not even in March yet. The pressure shouldn't really be on yet, and we're already crumbling.
Sure.
And you know, like I said this right at the start of the season, and people said, "Oh my God, it's too early to talk about pressure." But it was, but it wasn't, because when you go to the champions at Anfield and set up the way that we did, and you lose 1-0, you kind of look a bit silly Billy. Then you go to the Emirates and you have Man City come, who are probably going to be one of your title contenders back at that stage. They are happen to be now, but you couldn't really judge it back then. But I assumed they would be up there. And you set up cowardly and draw 1-1, and then you try and celebrate it. That doesn't really show the right mentality. When Liverpool play Man City that weekend, and you've got Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, I'm expecting let's go and put a message in, and we're 2-1 up and we throw it away 2-2. And then we go to Villa Park and we throw it away in the last minute 2-1 and lose the game. There's been so many elements on so many games and so much evidence so far that I've looked at that Arsenal aren't great at handling the pressure. And I'll give you a couple more examples. There was a lot of content I do with a very a section of our fan base that are incredibly positive, right? I'll say that believe we are going to go and win everything, and we're the best thing since sliced bread. And they've tried to recruit me. Come on, come over. We're going to win it all, Dan. You know? And I've not been able to do that. So what I've said to them was, I'll tell you what I'll do. Yeah, it is like a cult, bro. Trust me.
I love it.
If we beat Chelsea, I'll say we're going to win the league. It would have put us 8 points clear, 11 clear of Liverpool, and 13 clear of Chelsea, or something like that. Yeah. I said that would. I'll say we'll win the league if that happens. Couldn't beat them. They went down to 10 men. I went, hey, here we go. We're going to win the league. Couldn't beat them. Right. Then we go to Liverpool at the Emirates. I did shows with Cal. I did shows with all the Liverpool lads. 4-1 Arsenal, 4-0 Arsenal, 3-0 I reckon, Dan, 2-1. Yes, we're crap. And I'm like, I mean, I think we might win 2-1, but I'm not going 4-0. I mean, no way.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a shot on target, right? And again, I said we'll go 10 points clear if we win this, and I'll get behind. I'll say Arsenal with chest, we're going to win the league. I'll say that if we go 10 points clear. Couldn't do it. A couple of weeks later, Forest away. Oh, if we beat them, we go 8 points clear of Man City. This is happening this year, Dan. Forest, they beat Sean Dyche. They're awful. Didn't get a shot on target, 0-0. Can't say it. And I've done the same against Man United at the Emirates, who have, okay, Amarim's gone. That'll be all right. They've got Carrick. That'll be a nice battering. Lost 3-2. And I've done exactly the same over the last couple. Brentford, Wolves. If you can't go to Brentford and Wolves and pick up 3 points, albeit Brentford are a very good side and Wolves are fighting for their lives down there, you're not going to go to the Etihad and win, which we now have to do. They're 5 points behind us, but they have a game in hand, which means that they will be 2 points behind us. We need to keep that gap as best as we can before we get to the Etihad. And really and truly, I look at that now and think Manchester City will believe they're favourites to win this league, because you can't go into a season and think, yeah, we've got to beat Arsenal. They're going to have to accept they've got to beat us at the Etihad. They'll be fancying their chances to beat us and win the games that they believe. When we're going to drop points as well. And I think Man City will drop points. I think we might have thrown this away again. That's only because of past PTSD, and evidence suggests that we just can't handle that pressure. And it's not even got pressure yet, mate. We're not even talking about properly.
Yeah, you're not in the running. Yeah,
no,
you're not in the last 5, 6 games.
We've still got potentially Champions League games to play. We might draw up the Bernabeu again, or we might go to PSG again, or we might go to Bayern Munich. That's going to be pressure on top of potentially being in a semi-final of a FA Cup and the Cup final. Pressure's like not even started yet, and we're crumbling.
But let me ask you, right? Like, because one of the things from an outside point of view, I look at Arsenal's squad and go, well, you've got 2 players in each position, right? You know, everyone's said for years that, you know, Arsenal need a couple of components to really get over the line. One was the striker, you know, need backup centre-halves, backup fullbacks, a backup key. In the summer, you went out, you had a very good summer. I don't think many Arsenal fans could really complain that I think you had a good summer. And yet when I watch you play, I don't know if it's the manager, I don't know what it is, but for all of the attacking talent that you've got, Dan, it doesn't look very free-flowing. It doesn't look like you're going to swarm. Like, I remember even in teams you had under Wenger, right? That not even peak Wenger, even teams under Wenger where you lot were like, oh, is he the right man anymore? Games where you'd get 4 or 5 because you would just overload and goals, goals, goals. I don't see that from you anymore. And I'm asking, is it the players aren't as good as the outside looking in think, or is this Arteta's setup? Why has he not been able to feed Gyökeres, who's clearly a good goal scorer? Why can't he get goals from him? Why can't Eze fire? And I know that's ironic because he got a hat-trick against us, but you know what I mean? Why is he not getting these players at the top of their game?
You're right. It's 100% an Arteta system thing. I'll tell you what happened, if you want the honest truth, and people won't like to admit this, but we went 8 points clear in the 22-23 season. We were supposed to get top 4 that season. We weren't supposed to be in a title race. We found ourselves in the title race. We went 8 points clear, and I thought, wow, this guy literally is something clicked. We're free flowing. We look brilliant going forward. We're scoring goals. We got 15 goals from Ødegaard, 15 goals from Martinelli, 15 goals from Saka, 12 from Jesus, 7 from Granit Xhaka. Everyone's scoring. We've got Gabriel putting in headers. I'm thinking, oh my God, we might be doing something special here. Maybe I was wrong about this guy. He can play attacking-minded football. And then what happened was we went to Anfield, we went 2-0 up and we threw it away in 2-2. And then we went to West Ham and we went 2-0 up and we threw it away 2-2. And then we found ourselves 3-1 down against Southampton at home. And it was crumbling. And people were working out that actually we're a bit too tack-minded and you can get in behind Arsenal. And instead of going that summer, we need a couple of tweaks here. We need a couple of players coming in that are going to make us a little bit more stable. And then we'll go again. He basically got the paper and went, ain't doing that again. Right, defence, let's go. 1-0 to Arsenal. And he turned into a bad version of George Graham. And we were trying to win everything 1-0 and we weren't winning 1-0. We would keep losing or we were slipping up 1-1s and it was rigid and it wasn't good and it was compact, it was resolute. And then he decided, actually, if we do want to go win this, we've got to take the shackles off. And we were blitzing teams, 6-0 to Sheffield United, 6-0 to West Ham, 5-0 Burnley, 5-0 Palace. I'm thinking, here we go. He's woken up.
Yeah.
So he can do it. This season, he's got so much fear and PTSD from that season where we threw it away that he's actually becoming more risky because he's so worried about conceding goals that he's conceding goals. And I said this guy would put a life jacket on if he gets in the bath. He's that cautious, bruv. You know what I'm saying? He is that cautious. He literally does not want to lose a game. And you see it against Wolves. 1-0 at Arsenal, 1-0 up. Calm down. Everyone calm down. Hang on a minute. It's Wolves here. What are we doing? I'm going for the second. 2-0. They get one back. Shit yourself. Everyone back. Come on. We got a corner. It takes 4 hours to take it. You know what I mean? This is poor. You should not be worried about a Wolves team. Brentford, the same. 1-0, shit yourself. They're launching balls in the box. Why can't we get control of it? That's how they're going to score. Don't sit back and let them play because they're just going to launch it in the box and get an equaliser. Oh, there it is. Man United, get the goal, 1 ahead. All sit back. Now, like, fair play. They've scored worldies against us. You can't sit back and do a Southgate when you're 1-0 up. You can't do that. You've got to go and win the games.
I was so shocked. I didn't watch the first half against Wolves for you lot. I had the alerts on my phone, and when it went to 2-0, I went, but Spurs fan, Arsenal, they're winning this league, aren't they? And then I put on the last 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And I'll be honest, I couldn't believe for a team that are in a title, not in a title race, for a team that were leading the title challenge, so to speak, away at Wolves, who I'm looking at their team, like with Adam Armstrong up front. They've got like that Mane in midfield who's 18. They bought on that Adozie who's 18, 17, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm looking and thinking, I'm glad this is happening, but I'm also looking and going, I'm baffled. How are Arsenal not nullifying this game? How are Arsenal not taking the sting out of this game, controlling the ball in midfield? Look at the players they've got on. Look at the players you're bringing on. Dan, it just looked like, sorry to say this, it looked Spursy. Like it looked like you couldn't hit a pass. Your forwards couldn't hold the ball up front. Zubimendi's passing was suddenly, everything was going in front of the player that he was designated to go to. And it just looked like you guys had run out of ideas, to be honest, against the relegated Wolves. It was worrying for you lot, right?
Worrying indeed. And I think the main thing was, right, it wasn't so much just how we were playing poorly, because that can happen in a game. We did it against Wolves at home, to be fair. We weren't great against them then. We nearly drew that game if it weren't for another own goal that won us the game. But I looked at the mentality and I looked at it and I thought, what are you guys doing? Gabriel and Raya at the end for the goal. What are you doing? You've done that against Sunderland once already this season. You've done it again to draw us another game. Timber, like Martinelli, the crowd's giving it to him and he's doing that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing, bro? Wolves, the bottom of the league, they've got 8 points. What are you doing? Get on with the game.
And
End up drawing.
Trossard was apparently shot in the face, wasn't he?
Mate, it's just embarrassing. Like, the whole thing was embarrassing,
Yeah.
And I looked at the attack and I just thought it's the worst attack I've seen in a long time. It really is. Like, it's the worst attack. Now, I don't know if it's individually the worst attack, but the system is looking like it's one of the worst attacks. Because when we had some bad players like, or average players like Danny Welbeck and Iwobi and Joel Campbell and Javinho and all, they were able to score goals under Arsene Wenger. Yeah. Arsene Wenger got them playing. Unai Emery got us playing with an attack of Aubameyang and Pepe and Laka and these guys. He got us playing. And some of those individually, apart from Aubameyang, were not really performing, but he got them scoring. Arteta can't really get this team attacking. And we've got some very good players, by the way. Eberechi Eze of Spurs really wanted him. Erdegaard on his day can play well. Gyökeres scored 97 goals in 2 years. Havertz can score goals. Marino can score goals. Jesus can score goals. So can Trossard and Martinelli. But when you ask them all together as a collective play, the way that we are playing is so rigid that the only way we're going to score is if you get a set piece or whip in a corner. And it's a worry. It really is. So I feel like he needs to take the shackles off now. I think he'll have to, because you can't keep playing like this. You're not going to win a title if you do that. We've got 2 wins in 7 playing like this. He's got to change it. And I think what he needs to do is allow these players to be more free-flowing and go forward and be that scintillating Arsenal we all want to see. Because there's no doubt in that if you're a big fan of Madueke, Saka or Eze or not, that they can all go forward and they can all attack and they can put the fear of God into defences. I don't think this manager's allowing them to do that because he's so scared they might go over the other end. And I'll end on this quickly. People say we have the best European defence and we have the best defence in the league and we've got brilliant midfield and pivot of Rice and Zubimendi. And as much as that might be true, he doesn't think that because he doesn't trust them. Because he doesn't allow the attack to go forward to allow those best defenders in Europe and the league to do their job. And that's why I'm really frustrated by it. And I think what he's done as well, which I've seen in the chat, and it does need a mention, is he's flogged this team for 4 years and it shows. Like, Ben White can't stay fit. Havertz had a grade 3, haven't seen him most of the season. Saka, I love the kid, but he looks like a granddad running at the moment. He's really ruined him. And I look at the players at the moment on the red zone, like Rice, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel. I'm thinking, you can't do this to these as well. Like, you are going to have to rotate and get this right. And then, right, like, Norgard needs to play a bit more. Mosquera looks brilliant. Nketiah looks brilliant. Ethan Waneri should never have gone out on loan. Lewis Skelly should be playing more. I'm not saying start them for 90 minutes.
But you use them as the squad.
Better, he has made some good subs and he has rotated at times, but I don't always think he's got it right. And I think that's something he needs to do, is trust a little bit more in some of the squad and actually trust in his defence more when you go forward, because you can attack.
It's interesting, right? Because a player that you just mentioned there, obviously Eze, we had the do you know what? I was looking through my data the other day on my channel, and one of my most watched ever videos or lives was the meltdown over Eze choosing Arsenal, right? But it's strange, isn't it? Because, like, Eze is one of the most exciting players on his day. Like, when he gets the ball, he's like watching a kid in the park, right? He gets it, he glides with it, he shrugs players off. He scored in 2 Premier League games this season, I believe. Obviously, one of them was a hat trick against us, and the other one I don't even know who he scored against. But
it was against Palace, funny enough.
Right, against Palace. So in all those other games, I believe he's played 35 games in all competitions, 36, something like that. And he's managed 5 goals. And that means he's only scored in 3 games, right? Is this first season settling in? Is this purely him not being allowed to come off of his shackles like he was at Palace? Or are we seeing, is he not as good as we thought and he can't compete with Odegaard, with Trossard? I genuinely don't know. I'm asking her Arsenal.
Some of it is a system thing. As I've mentioned, some of it is definitely a system thing. And the reason you know it's a system thing is because over the last few years, I have seen Mikel Arteta fail to get the best out of a lot of attackers, if I'm honest with you. And some of them have left now. And some of them weren't good enough, whether it be Nelson or Eddie Nketiah or Smith Rowe. He didn't get the best out of Aubameyang or Lacazette or Pepe. he didn't get the best out of, and still hasn't got the best out of Jesus or Havertz or even Gyökeres. And then you look at the wide players and you think, yeah, Trossard and Martinelli are okay, but they're not going to walk into Vinny Jr. level, are they? They're not going to be that kind of left winger everyone looks at. There's only really
Is that a gal, by the way? Is that a gal?
Yeah, it is a gal. That is a gal.
Is a gal.
Yeah,
Oh,
Gal says he wants to play him at left wing, and I don't think he'll play him there because when he did play him there, when he did play him there, we lost to Villa, and he was at fault for the Matty Cash goal, and I've never seen him play left wing since. That's literally it for me with Arteta. He's quite ruthless like that. The other thing with Eze,
though, because one of the I don't want this to sound like a salty thing. Like, we all knew if he had come to Tottenham, he's playing 90 minutes. Like, he's the main man, right? Let's be fair. His face will be plastered all over that brand new stadium, and he'd be the face of Spurs. One of the things that I remember you and others talking about on your channel were he's joining Arsenal, but there's not really a space. Like you've got Odegaard who played in that position, and he is the captain. So is this a case of, did you need him? Was this panic because Havertz went down injured? Was this purely to stick two fingers up at Tottenham? Or is this that next year what might be the year where we all go, oh, well, look how bloody good he is? Because he's not getting younger, is he? So
no, he's 27, 28. When we signed him, Sav, a lot of the Arsenal fans were more excited about how we signed him as opposed to the player himself. So I think a lot of the Arsenal fans were more excited the fact that we made you look a bit silly and, last minute we went and nicked him and all that kind of stuff. But when we signed him, I said to the Arsenal fans, this is not an Ozil or Alexis Sanchez signing. This is a contribution signing. It's a hell of a lot of money for one of those, but that's what he is. He's going to come on, he's going to score some goals, and he's going to assist some goals. I don't see him as a starter regularly. I don't think he takes us to the next level. I think he's going to come in and be a squad player, and that's exactly what I think he's been. The only people that are massively disappointed are the ones that thought he was going to be Alexis Sanchez for us. He was never going to be that. It wasn't that at Palace. And I've spoken to Palace fans, and I sort of said, go on then, are you annoyed? They went, we are. Yeah, he's a good player. We're annoyed that he's wanted to leave, but he won't get 15 goals for you. He'll score a goal and you won't see him for 5 games. He'll score another goal and you won't see him for 5 games. And he'll do something mad for you, like win you a cup final or score a hat-trick against Spurs or whatever it be, and you won't see him for 5 years. For 5 games. And that's exactly what I've got from him. And when I spoke to Palace fans, I said, I think we're looking at playing him on the left. They went, whoa, don't do that. I said, why? They said, he's absolutely awful as a winger. You've got to play him at central left 8 or left attacking midfield. You can't play him as a wing mate. I went, really? I think that's what we're going to do. We played him for 2 games. He's never played there again. Never played at left wing again. He's been that bad there. So I think when you look at Eze, he's come in and he's done exactly what I thought. He's been poor in certain games. He's been all right in certain games. I think I would have liked to have seen him do a little bit more, but I never looked at him as this kind of elite level, next level signing. I didn't look at him and go, we're winning the league now. Give us the league now. That's unbelievable. He was a good player.
I looked at him as a Spurs type signing, Dan, because of those moments. Right. Because of those moments of skill, I looked at him and thought, yeah, this is what we want to see to get us off our seat. This is that type of footballer. But sometimes players, and by the way, this isn't revisionism because I really like Eze. I'm gutted that he went to you lot. But, sometimes players thrive in a different atmosphere. Like at Palace, no offense to Palace, there is no pressure. There's no, what's the pressure you've got at Palace is staying up, right? There's no pressure of, oh, if you don't play well for 5-6 games, people question you. I'm sure no Palace fan at any point said, oh, I drop Eze today. I'm sure he was never, ever talked about like that. It was like, oh my God, we need Eze. At Arsenal, you've got to get in straight away and do your business. So I'm interested to see how that pans out next year. And I'm going to ask you a question now that kind of leads into next year. If Arteta does not win the league this year or the Champions League, I'm sure you've probably been asked this a million times before, but does he need to go? But I saw Jason Kunde actually talking about this, and I think he's funny. I don't think like his views, but I think he's hilarious. He said, look, Arteta he's a nearly man, and realistically, somebody should be coming in of note to your squad and winning that league, because this is not a vintage Premier League, Dan. I don't subscribe to all this. The Premier League's this great league. I think it's as weak as I've ever seen it. But you guys should be winning it. So does he get sacked?
The league is horrific standard.
Agreed.
The league has to be won now, and if he can't win it, then he does need to go. And I think the majority of people agree with that, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not. There are a section that love him and think he's better than Wenger and they think he's better than Pep and all this is extreme. But I actually do think that if he wins the league, fine by me. If he doesn't win the league, he has to go. And you cannot be in a job for 7 years and win nothing. That is not what happens. Or win.
Does a League Cup cover that over?
So I said this, Sav. I said, you know what? Win me a cup, you can stay. Just prove you can win something. Prove you can install winning mentality into this side. The reason I've changed my mind on that is because you can't go 7 points clear and bottle it again. You can't do that, man. You've got to go and get this league across the line. Not to this version of City. I don't mind if it's a treble-winning City or a four-peat City, but you cannot do what we're doing at the moment and look to be bottling it and the pressure, whatever term you want to call, the pressure's getting to us, whatever it is. So for me, if Arteta doesn't win the league, I think he's got to go. If he wins the Champions League, he stays. If he wins the Premier League, he stays. But I don't think winning a domestic cup will be enough for him, if I'm honest. And I think that he might even, a lot of people believe this, he might even go, do you know what? I've tried. I've given it a good go. I've left you in a good position for whoever comes in next. It's time for me to do one. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll stay because he's on £15 million a year. But if he doesn't get across the line, I think we need to go. And people will say, well, who's out there? Who'd you get? There's no one out there. Come on, man. There's only two managers that are on more than this bloke, Pep Guardiola and Simeone. So I can understand we might not get those two. But I tell you what, you go out to Luis Enrique and give him 15 million a year, he's coming. So's Hansi Flick. So's Zinedine Zidane. So's bloody, Nagelsmann. Or throw me another manager you might want. Carlo Ancelotti, Conte, whoever the hell you want. They're going to come and do that job for £15 million a year.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Somebody like that would then go, I tell you what, I don't really need to do much here. I maybe need a couple of players here, and then we're ready to go. So I think we're in a very good position for a new manager to come in. And, saying the nearly there man is actually fair because he might be a Brendan Rodgers and we might need a Klopp at Liverpool. That's what he might be. He might be a Brendan Rodgers. I don't know that he's a Klopp. Maybe he'll be a Klopp one day in 10 years. I've no idea. But for me, I need to see him get across the line. And if we can't, I'll be looking in the summer to replace him 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Listen, I don't want to go for another 5 minutes, Dan, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, cool.
But look, it's a strange one because, obviously Tottenham and Arsenal playing each other in a weekend. Some people are going to bill it as, hang on, your title chances versus our relegation chances. You got West Ham below us. They're playing Bournemouth at home this week, and you never know what you're going to get from Bournemouth. West Ham on a bit of a high. Newcastle City could depend on what happens with you lot of the weekend. Do you see that? Do you see this game as, if we beat you, do you see that that's your title gone? Or is it too early to be looking at that yet?
No, I think it's far too early because, okay, there's two ways to answer that, isn't there? Mentally, I think it'd probably be gone because I know what this team's like. But mathematically, it clearly isn't. I mean, let's be real. If we're 6 points behind City, mathematically, we can still win the league, right? But I don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're second. I don't want to be putting ourselves in a position where we're second. I think that would really hurt us, potentially when we, particularly when we should have gone like 12 points clear a few weeks ago. And I kept saying, these Arsenal fans that kept saying I was like deluded for not believing that we're going to win it. We can go 12 points clear, yeah, but we didn't. Well, now we can go 10 points clear, but we didn't. We can go 8 points clear, but we're not. And then it's like we're 7 points clear. We're still 5 points clear. We're still 4 points clear. Now we're 5 points clear with a game in hand, which will soon be 2 points clear. When is it that they say we're only 2 points behind City? And this is my problem with it, falling and falling and falling. And we're not falling against unbelievable sides, by the way. Wolves and Brentford are respectable sides, but Wolves have been awful this season, and Brentford have been very, very good. But you'd expect Arsenal to beat them. These Sunderland away, you've got to beat them in a title race. Draws kill you in title races. So I look at it now and think, I feel like there's too many pressure games where we've felt the pressure. And I only think it's going to get worse because we're not even in March yet. Now, Igal, who's in the chat, and some of the others will say I'm deluded. It's done. It's already wrapped up. Arsenal have won it. Everyone calm down. Man City are crap. It's awful. Pep's not the same. He wants to leave, and Haaland's overrated. I don't agree with any of that. I think this is a Manchester City side that can quite clearly win the league. Where I won't disagree is that Manchester City are not as good as they used to be. But Manchester City have Rodri, who's been there and done it. Pep Guardiola has been there and done it, as has Haaland, as has Foden, as has Bernardo Silva, as has Diaz. None of these Arsenal players have won anything together.
Donnarumma's won How
Donnarumma,
much
what a signing.
PSG?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
yeah, yeah,
signing. And you know what? Semenyo and Guehi are good signings as well. I know they haven't won anything, but I'll tell you what they
yeah.
do. They come in and they walk into the side and they strengthen them. And Arsenal did nothing in January. In fact, I'll go one further. They bought in Semenyo and Guehi. We got rid of Ethan Waneri and got Marino injured. So they've gained 2 and we've lost 2. How does that make us stronger? Like, for
Do you
me,
know the worry, Dan, for me? The worry for me is this is catch-22 because obviously I don't ever want you lot to win the league, right?
no.
But for Man City's dominance, and I know they didn't win the league last year, but Man City have been the dominant team in the Premier League for the last decade. And the worrying thing is, if this Man City team, which let's be fair, it is in transition, whichever way we look at it, it is in transition with the likes of Cherky, with De Bruyne going, with Reinders coming in, and Nico O'Reilly now establishing himself, Donnarumma's new, and Ait Nouri's new, Nunes at right back. If this Man City wins the league, that what makes me worried for future seasons that if they won it when they weren't even great and in their transition, what's it going to be like when these guys have had an extra couple of years to settle? Yeah, a couple of years more experience. Cherky settled to the league. What a couple more players added to the team. This could spring a new dominant spell of Man City. Do you know what I mean? And if Arteta can't beat that version of City, then he's got to be the guy that goes, right? Got to. So that's where I am with it.
Agreed.
It's just a shame that it's you lot are the only ones that can stop them. But hey, listen, every Spurs fan's going to be wanting the light blue of City to be winning the league.
Of course.
But it's you're right, Dan, isn't it? Then this isn't vintage City right now. This is a good City. They got some really good players, but this isn't Fortress City. This isn't the City.
We should be able to beat them, man. We should be able to beat them to this title. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone who believes we're not good enough to go and beat them to this title is crazy because they're not that great. But it's not going to be about quality. It's not going to come down to, have you got a better right back than ours? It's not going to come back down to that. It's going to come down to what is up here. Have you mentally got the strength to get across the line? And I've not seen that with Mikel Arteta. The cup final could be a massive opportunity for us to show that we can. Obviously, in my opinion, we're probably going to play Man City in another couple of competitions. I think Man City will probably get through to the quarterfinals or so in the Champions League. And if the order goes right to where we're predicting, Arsenal will probably get them in one of those rounds. And in the FA Cup, we're probably going to beat them as well because right now, we'll probably meet them because we're both the favourites for it, right? So I think this Pep Arteta thing is just warming up, and I don't think it's just going to be the Etihad game and the final. I think there's going to be a couple more. You get him in the Champions League, you've got another 2 games there. So I think this could be a real massive couple of months. It's just warming up. And when you're dropping points at Brentford and Wolves, it don't look good going forward. So I think the pressure getting to Arsenal is what's going to lose this for them. I think on paper, we've got the better squad. Might not have the best 11. And you look at Man City's 11, they might have a Haaland or a world-class superstar. I don't know that we have. But as a unit and as a balanced side and as a squad depth, I think we should be winning the league. And I think we should be winning the League Cup. But whether we'll do that, bro, it's not played on paper. So I think the pressure getting to us will be the issue.
Just quickly, Saka.
Yeah.
This is a really talked about individual, isn't it? And depending on who you speak to, has a different level of world class or how good a player is. How much do you rate Bukayo Saka? Because for me, can I be honest, Dan? And this isn't Arsenal v Spurs. I always look at Saka and think, good player, but I never watch him and go, cool. Yeah, I never watch him, like we were talking about the likes of Ginola earlier and Bergkamp and I never watch him and go, wow, you are the man. Am I being harsh? What do you think of him? Are you happy you signed a new contract? What's
No, you're not being harsh. You're being fair, mate. He's a very good player. Very good player. He's not been this season. I think he's been injured and ruined by injury. I don't think he's come back the same player. And he keeps getting knocks. We've put him on 300k a week now, so he better be bloody good. And I think we should have kept him because, you can't be selling Saka when you're going for a title, really. He's one of your best players on his day. Sure. Where do I see him? Look, I don't understand what world class is. No one's been able to explain what the definition is.
Sure,
So I'm not going to say I understand what that means, really, world class. I mean, does it mean he gets in everyone's team? Does it mean he's the best in his position? Does it mean he's a top 5 in his position? I don't get what it means. So I'm not going to say whether I think he's world class or not because I don't understand the definition. I would say there's probably 3 or 4 wingers that are better in him than world football. So whether you believe that to be in the top 5 or the top 6 or top 7, I don't think you can look at Mo Salah and say he's better than him. I don't think you can look at Lamine Yamal and say he's better than him. You're probably going to throw Dembele in there. You're probably going to throw Michael Elise in there. I think all of those players are probably better than Saka, if I'm honest with you. But I look at what Bukayo Saka's done at Arsenal in the last 4 years, and I think it's been fantastic. Now, people will say, oh, he ain't carried you. He ain't won anything. But actually what he has done is he's carried us at a time where we needed somebody, and he was that guy at 18 years old. He was scoring goals for us. He put in 15, I think, in the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons. Out of 2 or 3 of those 4, he's got over 30 goals and assists. So that is an incredible footballer. It's an incredible stat. My problem is he's been overplayed, and I think he's been ruined and run into the ground by Mikel Arteta. I knew this was going to happen. I kept calling it years ago. Said, when are we going to rest this kid? He's playing every game, every minute of every game, and he's playing for England every minute of every game because he's been brilliant for England as well. You can't say he hasn't been good for England. So I think he is a great player. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's the best in his position. I think Arsenal fans do go over the top with it. I don't think he gets into many categories in Arsenal. I don't think he's the best right winger we've had. I don't think he's the best Emirates era player we've had. I don't think he's in the top 3 or 4 Emirates era players that we've had.
Sure.
And I actually do think there's been a couple of right wingers that are a lot better, or a couple of wingers at Arsenal like Overmars and Pires and Sanchez and Lundberg that are better than Bukayo Saka, right? So I don't think that we can say that he's not a good player, but we do need to be careful of how highly we rate a player. And at the moment, 4 goals and a few assists, it's not been a good start for him in this season, in my opinion. And I feel sorry for the kid because I do feel like he's been run into the ground and flogged. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think you can do that to an 18, 19-year-old. He's 24, but at the moment he's running like a 34-year-old, and that's worrying for me, mate.
Yeah, no, I make you right. I just find it such an interesting conversation because I like Saka. Look, as a footballer, I like him. He's good. But for me, again, we always talk, Dan, about it's just that X factor. Like, do I watch a player and go, you've just like De Bruyne's got that X factor. Don't know what it is, but something in his feet, just something, right? Riyad Mahrez just had that bit of X factor. Saka for me is very good, but I know what I'm going to get from him, which is good, but never does anything where I go, bloody hell, did you see that from Saka? But look, it's an interesting one. Look, he signed his new contract. Arsenal will be happy. I'm sure you've put a massive release clause in his contract or whatever it may be. But hey, it's going to be interesting. Look, Dan, last question, and then we are going to wrap up. By the way, if anybody in my chat is a member, please, or a mod, sorry, please put Dan's link in the chat. I'm sure most of you are subscribed anyway to Football's 12th Man. And as I said, I will be on next Thursday's show. I will be making a return for an episode, not a regular, but for an episode. Please put his link in the chat, and if you could all subscribe, that would be great. Dan, I've got to get a score prediction for. This is my worst thing, by the way, as a YouTube creator. When you get asked a question and people just hold you to it. Spurs Arsenal 4:30 Sunday. Igor Tudor. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, my heart says we're going to win the game 2-1, but my head says this is going to be a 1-1 draw. So I will go with that because I don't think Arsenal are playing well enough. Whether that means it's title over, I'll talk about that in another time because I think it's early. But I do personally believe this will be a 1-1 draw. I think that the occasion will be a lot for the players. I think the pressure is massively on. I don't think we're playing well at the moment. And I don't think Spurs are well enough to be taking 3 points off of us. So I think both teams will score. I think it'll be 1-1. I think it'll be tight. I think Tudor will come to get that draw. And I think you'll play for that draw. And I think you'll get it, unfortunately. So I'm going to go 1-1, man. But I hope I'm wrong and we win the game.
Yeah, I just feel like a 2-2 or a 1-1 something as well. I mean, I'd love to say that we've got enough to take it to you. I've said this all week. I might be wrong, Dan. I think we will come out at 100 miles an hour. I do. I think that they will have that new manager buzz of get at them, press them, get a couple of tackles in, get the crowd going. Then I think that we will slowly but surely fall away because the quality isn't there to maintain that for 90 minutes. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope we win 4-0. Can't see it, but we'll see on Sunday. Listen, guys, please get over to there you go, to Football's 12th Man podcast. Fantastic creator, massive channel. I am going to send you over now. No one's live other than Never a Foul. I'm going to send you over to Never a Foul, to Kaz and the boys. When you get there, please just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid or whatever you want to say. Watch out later on, guys. Got a video coming out about Michael Carrick. I'm going to start diversifying some videos, Dan. I've had such a, my personal circumstance. I've had such a shit week this week in my life with deaths and tragedies that have gone on. I sat there and thought to myself the other day, I'm about to get all deep here, I want to just do what I want to do. I want to make videos about what I want to make videos about. Sod the viewers, the trolls, sorry, not the viewers, sod the trolls, and it is what it is. But so watch out. I've got a video about whether Michael Carrick is the guy for Man United. Dan, much love. Appreciate you as always, my friend.
Come on, bro. Big up to you, man. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you inviting me on the channel. And thanks for bigging it up, mate. And keep doing what you're doing. I know that you're coming to an end in a few weeks, months, whatever it be. But, a
few situations have happened this week that might have derailed that. Might have. I hope not, but might have. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. But big up to you anyway. Thanks for having me on. And I hope that you lose at the weekend, bro.
Yeah, no worries. Dan, I'll let you go. I'm going to do some super chats before I go. I'll let you go so you don't have to sit through them. But thank you very much.
Big up to the chat as well, man. Thanks for being polite. Big up to you all. Take care, all right? See you soon, man.
Appreciate it. Just before we go, guys, George has become a YouTube member. I think he's renewed because he's always been in here. So big up to you, George. Really appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. Phil Coys. He assured us all, didn't he? Phil Coys assured us all that if we sign Matisse Tell, we are going to see 25 goals from him. He is the oracle, the greatest left winger in the history of left wingers. Big up to you, Phil. Much love, bro. Hope you are well. He didn't say that, by the way. He didn't. Just having a laugh. Big up to Ian JD, who said football today reminds me of the music industry. Mass-produced rubbish. Yeah, I agree. Look at the artists and footballers in the 80s compared to now. Yes. Everything now is robotic. Every time I'm in the car and I hear a song, it sounds like it's just been produced in someone's bedroom in about 5 minutes. It's crap. Where are the Queens? Where's Queen? Where are those types of bands? I'm showing my age. I'm getting old and aggy now. Big up to you, Ian. Really appreciate that. I can't agree more. Big up to Dean Law. Always in it with a super sticker. Big up to you, my man. Appreciated. Before I do the last super chat, get over to OK Jersey as well. Got sent this free, actually. My guys sent me 6 World Cup shirts. Very nice fit. Feels nice. Trying to channel my inner Messi. But get over there. Use the code SAVA, 8% at checkout. You'll get off. Big up to you. And last but not least, always, my man Jordan is always generous to me. Said a proper club that isn't run by frauds would have used the money we're willing to pay for Semenyo and gone and got a Lookman or Akliush in January. Bang on. We just kick the can down the road every time, and now Odegaard is injured. And Jordan, can I tell you what? I don't disagree in any way. And what worries me more about this, Jordan, is that when fans like me, like you, like whoever were saying, go and get Akliush, go and get Lookman, how many of our fan base said, nah, Lookman can't do it in the Premier League. He's got an attitude. He's not a needle mover. Yeah, he looks like he's really struggling at Atletico Madrid right now as he's scoring and assisting for fun. Anyway, Jordan, much love. Really appreciate you. Take care, people. I'm going to send you over to Never a Foul. Have some fun. You know what their shows are like. Good energy. Lots of fun. Take care. Much love. Watch out for the Michael Carrick video later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.